performance register. This is your edge. This is your insight. This is NPR. Let's go.
Welcome to the NPR Performance Pod. And this is my favorite segment that we do. And this is called, Hey Andrew, Bust My Myth. And today's myth is, the more you sweat, the more you are working. So I wrote it in a question. Okay, Andrew, it's a common belief that the more you sweat, the harder you're working and the more weight you are losing. Is that actually true? And I think it is, but I'm assuming I'm wrong.
Okay, Brad, there's a short answer and there's a long answer.
Well, we got 5 minutes.
Okay, so...
Give me the short answer and then...
I think the short answer is no.
I'm wrong.
Sweating is actually your body's response to temperature. Okay, so indirectly, I suppose if you're exercising harder and you're trying harder and your body temperature rises quicker or faster, then potentially you would sweat more. But my caveat is that not everybody sweats, and not everybody sweats at the same rate,
Okay.
and the same amount. I don't know if you're right and I'm wrong, or vice versa.
No, I would probably believe you. I would assume that is the case. But let me just push some more questions to you, and then you can just lay your knowledge on me. What does sweat actually represent physiologically? Is it what you said is just a response to heat?
Okay, so what happens is when you exercise, and obviously your intensity of exercise will determine how quickly your body heats up. So you must also remember that when you exercise, the muscles in your body are the things where the blood tends to go. So you have a redistribution of blood away from your core area, and it moves out. And the central area is what keeps you warm. So as the blood then shifts out into the periphery, into your arms and legs, if you're running, then what happens is it heats that up, and that heats you up. And then what happens is your body gets to a point and it starts to sweat. So the interesting thing is, the fitter, healthier people sweat early.
Yes.
So if you're one of those people that you think about exercise and you get into a cold sweat, that's not the sweat I'm talking about. But the exercising sweat, it's actually better, because what happens is your body's trying to cool itself down. And the quicker your body cools down, the better.
Okay.
So what happens from there is that if you're exercising, so in other words, if I'm sprinting, generally the body is going to constrict all the vessels around my abdomen, and it's going to shunt blood to this area a lot quicker than if I'm jogging slowly. Which then brings about why we talk about nutrition and when you shouldn't eat in exercises, various certain types of exercises. So the higher intensity exercise, you definitely can't eat it around that, because that's not going to fuel your body, but also you're not going to digest it. All right. So when I'm exercising, the blood gets pushed into my periphery, which is my arms and my legs, and what it does, it heats it up. Now, the sweat drops onto your skin, okay? It comes out of your skin, and that's how you sweat. The thing is, that's not what cools you down. What cools you down is when, within the atmosphere, that sweat then is evaporated off your body. So now if you live in a place like Durban, you'll realize that the humidity in Durban is actually quite high. Generally fits around 70, 80%, which is why when you go to Durban, most of the girls, their hair just zings, and they can't control it. But what ends up happening is, because there's such high humidity, that sweat that forms on your body doesn't evaporate. And your brain then says,
sweating more.
So then you sweat more, and you sweat more, because it never evaporates off your body. It might fall off, or you might wipe it off, but it doesn't have that cooling effect. And you see it commonly at the comrades, or you see it, especially when we get international rugby sides, and we want to play rugby in Durban. They struggle with that. They'll struggle with cramping. They'll struggle with unbelievable fatigue. They'll also struggle with a little bit of heat stroke. Because what ends up happening is that you keep pushing fluid to your body, to your periphery, to sweat more, but it doesn't cool you down.
Interesting. That's crazy. So does sweating, when that's happening and you're sweating more, is it burning more calories, or is that also not true?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but the thing is, the longer you are exercising, the more calories you are burning. The higher your body temperature is, when you stop exercising, the more calories you'll burn post-exercise. So in other words, let's say, for instance, I'm exercising and I get my core body temperature to go to 38. okay, it will take much longer for my core body temperature to come down to 36 again than it would if I was at 37. And in that process of cooling down, my body then works more calories and it burns more calories. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not within the exercise, but it's certainly post-exercise. As my body tries to get it back down to its homeostasis, its usual level, it's going to burn more calories if it's higher than if it was lower.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense. That does make sense. Okay, 2 more quick questions. This is from me. I think I've answered, or I think you've answered this one already in the process. But I feel like if people sweat a lot, they might weigh themselves and have dropped. Is that water weight that is just being sweat out?
Yeah. So you'll find a lot of people use sweating, especially professional athletes, UFC
drop weight.
athletes, boxers. They'll try and drop weight. The problem with that is that it makes you, it decreases performance quite massively.
Okay, so it's a fine line they got it.
And you know what? When I was still involved with the cricket side, what we used to do is we used to get the guys, especially when we went to the subcontinent, so India or Sri Lanka, and we used to weigh the guys before the day started, and then at lunchtime we'd weigh them again, and we weighed them because part of their hydration strategy was that if you drop off by 1 or 2 or 3% of body weight, it has a massive change in your body composition. So you must imagine a player like Mark Boucher who goes on as a wicketkeeper.
Jeez.
And he's in 40-degree heat and it's 70% humidity.
In a helmet and
he sweats. And at times, we had some players who were doing 4 or 5 kilos in the morning.
whoa.
That is fluid. That's not body weight.
Crazy.
And so what our job was, or my job at that stage with the doctor and the physio, was to try and hydrate him and get him back to as normal weight as possible, as quickly as possible.
Are you running electrolytes onto the field, or is it just water?
No, it's electrolytes. I mean, again, water is not the best way to rehydrate. It has to be done with electrolytes because it just helps the absorption. It helps your gut regulate things as well.
Okay, last question, and this is one that's not on my list, but I just thought of it now. Clean sweat and smelly sweat. Is it the fitter you are, the more you're sweating, so your sweat's cleaner? Or do you know what I mean? I feel like the people who sweat a lot, there's often less odor. This is a weird question to ask, but you know what I mean?
So the fitter you are, the less salt your sweat contains. So if you wanted to try as a gross experiment, what you could do is next time you sweat, lick your sweat.
Yeah,
And
do it
go
all
to
the time.
somebody that you know that's not as fit
And lick their
sweat. And what you'd find is the salt concentration is less.
Guys, COVID's in the past. We're licking each other's sweat now.
So remember...
We're back, baby.
Hopefully not. So just remember that one of the things that the body tries to do, it tries to regulate its levels as much as possible. So the less it puts out, the better, with regards to magnesium, calcium.
The less you sweat, the better.
No, the more you sweat, the better. Because it's got to cool your body temperature down. Because funny enough, body temperature is regulated above almost everything else.
Wow.
So if your body temperature rises to 42 or 43, you pass away. Similarly, if it drops past 32, you're also dead. So your body temperature is something that your body regulates above everything else, and it controls blood pressure and heart rate accordingly because it either speeds it up or slows it down. Once you understand that, you can then understand that the volume or what's contained within the sweat is very evident about your fitness levels. So the fitter people will have less salt in their sweat.
But is salt smelly?
People. Well, that's what I'm not quite sure if it's smelly. So that might be a genetic thing, but it certainly will taste different.
Oh, okay. So it's not about if you stink in the gym, it's cool as long as you taste.
Yeah.
Good.
Maybe that's a question we need to ask the viewers, if anyone can answer that question for us, because I don't know that answer.
That's a very interesting question. Maybe we can get a comment on
smelly sweat.
I didn't think that we would have so much to talk about with sweat. It was very, very interesting.
Topical.
Okay. If you liked this video, click like and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, click like and subscribe. We don't care. We just need you to like it and subscribe. Awesome, guys. Have a great day. Andrew, have a good one.
Thanks, Brad.
Till next time.